The armchair swallowed him whole. A beast of fabric and springs, he sat unmoving, a statue draped in the stale scent of neglect, forever facing the cold blue glow of the television screen. Days bled into weeks, weeks into months, marked only by the changing programs on the screen and the thickening miasma of his presence. The house held its breath. She remembered him, vibrant, alive, a man who chased the sun and filled her world with laughter. Now, only a shell remained. Tea grew cold in porcelain cups. Meals turned to mold untouched on his lap. He remained fixed, an anchor of inertia in a sea of growing despair. Whispers began to snake through the neighborhood. Glances turned to stares. The outside world recoiled from the festering secret within those walls.
She tried to wash away the grime, the smell, the creeping horror that clung to him like a second skin, but the water only ran darker each week.
The television became his voice, a cacophony of static and broken promises filling the silence between them. It was the only thing that seemed to hold his attention. Old bills, ticket stubs, and scraps of forgotten memories littered the chair, a macabre mosaic of a life left behind, each object a testament to his slow erasure. The skin on his neck, thin as parchment, revealed a roadmap of blue veins, a morbid reminder of the lifeblood draining away. A green smudge slept in the crease behind his ear, a silent bloom of rot claiming its territory. She knew then that something was irrevocably wrong. The rot had crept in, unseen, unheard, consuming him from the inside out. He was a vessel filled with something other than life. Anger flared, a desperate attempt to rekindle a dying ember. It was easier to blame him than to face the hollowness behind his eyes. But the anger faded, leaving only a vast, stupid sorrow, a recognition of the monster she had allowed him to become. Dragging him toward the bathroom, the world tilted, a grotesque dance of denial and desperation. The house itself seemed to lean in, a silent accomplice to the horror. The lukewarm water smelled of bleach and fear, a futile attempt to cleanse the unseeable stain that had consumed him. A thin thread clung to her finger, a hair, or a filmy skin, a grotesque souvenir of the transformation taking place. His eyes cleared, for the first time in years, a brief flicker of recognition in the abyss. They were not accusing, not blank, simply there, small and worn. She had made a story out of his silence, a shield against the gaping void of grief. It was easier to believe he was cruel than to admit the loss. The television clicked itself off, as if finally noticing the program had ended. The blue light died, leaving only silence. The house had been the loudest thing between them, full of static and channels and small rituals. Now only the quiet remained. He had not stopped moving, she realized. She had simply stopped seeing what was left of him, blinded by her own fear and denial. The night kept its own company, the wind pushing the old magnolia against the glass, like a slow-knuckled hand.
The water ran clear over him, over her, over the small life they'd made. It felt like forgiveness or punishment. It felt like work.
He does not do anything. She washes him. She watches the television set of the past until the screen begins to show her face reflected back. Tired, wet, unmade, she could not tell which of them was keeping the other alive. A grotesque symbiosis born of grief and denial.
The rot spread, subtle, insidious, a creeping vine that entangled them both in its embrace.
In the silence, she could hear the static within him, a low hum of decay that resonated with her own growing madness. He was a mirror, reflecting back her own fears and failures, a grotesque parody of the man she had once loved. The television continued to flicker, a malevolent eye watching over their slow descent into oblivion. She was trapped in his static, a prisoner of her own guilt and denial, doomed to repeat the same ritual until the end of time. And in the end, there was only static, a deafening silence that consumed them both. The armchair remains, stained and imprinted with the shape of a life lost to the static within, a haunting reminder of the horror that unfolded within those walls. Did he ever feel her touch, her love, or was he already lost to the static, a ghost in his own home? The house stands silent, a tomb filled with the echoes of a life consumed by the static within. The static remains.